Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm glad that I can ask you that question.
So I'm like 800 pounds lighter.
It was an ordinary moment in my day. I was standing at my sink, washing my dishes, when my phone started to ring. I glanced down at the name, and I answered right away. And on the other end was this familiar, friendly, warm voice saying, "Hello." That voice belonged to Anne Fogel. I first spoke with Anne on July 26, 2024, during a screening held at the Penn Theater here in downtown Butler, promoting a documentary called Did You Forget Mr. Fogel? Directed by Max Karpman, who joined us that night to talk about the film, the process behind it, and the profound impact Anne's brother, Marc Fogel, had on his life as a student. You see, Mark's story is one of those stories that goes deeper than any of us ever could imagine for our own lives. Marc Fogel is an American schoolteacher who was arrested in August of 2021 by Russian authorities for attempting to enter the country with zero point 0.6 ounces of medical cannabis. In June of 2022, he was sentenced to 14 years in a Russian prison. For almost 3 years, Mark's life would unfold inside a system designed to erase time, agency, and hope. Days were measured in endurance, in routine, in survival. Each choice to keep going quietly defiant. But what happened outside those prison walls mattered just as much as what happened within them. Every letter written, every mile marched, every story told, every piece of art created, every prayer spoken, every article published became part of a living resistance to forgetting him. Mark's perseverance mattered. His family's relentlessness mattered. And so did the community of people, many of whom never met him, who refused to let his name fade. Because when you understand the laws, when you understand the circumstances, and when you understand the human cost behind the charge, the story changes. It becomes a reckoning with how fragile freedom is and how powerful collective belief can be when it insists on bringing someone home. And then, on February 11th of 2025, Mark was released. What followed wasn't an ending. It was the beginning. The beginning of healing, of decompression, and of a family still trying to understand how something so unthinkable became real. Freedom is something we talk about as if it's a finish line. Once you reach it, everything makes sense again. But real life isn't that clean. On today's episode, Anne Fogel joins me to reflect on the 1-year anniversary of her brother Mark's release from a Russian prison. We talk about hope, decompression, and what it means to keep choosing this beautiful, fragile life we're given, even when it asks more of us than we ever imagined. This conversation is about what happens after survival. Freedom, hope, and the long road that comes with both. And it's also about what prayer, determination, marching, documentary filmmaking, podcasting, and journalism can do. Not just to change one person's life, but to carry an entire family through the unimaginable. When you called me, I think I told you I was washing dishes and had headphones on and
Right.
saw your name pop up and you, Laura, and it's just, I haven't talked to you since a year. And for me, it was, as much as I wanted to, reach out sooner, I also in my mind, they deserve to go through what they're going through and have the time together. I thought How many?
It was a lot of recovery.
I'm sure. And it's not
for sure
recovery. I mean, in grief, there's grief, right? Because there's a lot that you all are grieving. You're grieving the time that was lost.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and your mother, who is just a spitfire, I have to say, when I interviewed her for the podcast, I met her at the door and I said, "Oh, is there anyone with you? Did someone drive you here?" And she's like, "Oh, no, I drove myself." And I was like, "Okay. All right." And I said, "You are
still doing that."
Oh my goodness. She's just
still doing that. You know, she used to work at the Butler Eagle. Did she tell you that?
Yes, she did tell me that. So remind me again what she did when she was here.
She was a proofreader and a darling. Like any time that they were changing the clocks back, she was on the front of the newspaper.
That's right.
With the clock.
Oh, she did tell me that.
Informing everybody that they needed to yes. Have you seen the photograph?
No. Do you have it?
Oh, I do. I don't think I have it on me right now, but it is fabulous.
Oh my goodness. I might have to, well, that would be like in a deep archive that I probably don't have access to, but yes, I do remember her telling me that. And she gave me so much hope. And I remember when we had the event at the Penn Theater for Max Karpman's documentary that he did on Mark, which was, you were a part of that, and it was just so well put together. And I remember when I stepped into this story, because that's what I feel like I did. I feel like I stepped into the story. Yeah. And even before I met you, we hadn't even met until after that viewing, or it's a screening that we did. And we called you, I remember, and you were like up in the barn or something in a corner just so you would have service to be able to talk to me. I just remember that, and it just stood out to me.
Well, I was supposed to be there, and that computer glitch happened.
That's right. All the
with
flights
the airlines, and everything was canceled. It was unbelievable.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
But we made it happen. I'm that's why I'm doing this, because I'm like, where there's a will, there's a way. And if this story embodies anything, it's that. It's you could tell anytime. Yes, persistence. Not giving up and just holding on to hope. And I remember at the end of that event, I had met some of your extended family. There was everyone. I feel like they invited me to a family reunion, a picnic or something. They were like, and I was like, I got to check my calendar. Right. I'm like, of course I probably have plans. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to go to this. So I was like, what can I bring? Right. And I actually did have a event that weekend and unfortunately couldn't make it, but I don't remember exactly who it was. And it might've been Mark's best friend. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was his name Randy or no? There was a Randy Backus. Yes, who we call Rudy. Yes, I think it was Randy. And I said, I hope that it's not insensitive for me to say this, but I really look forward to meeting Mark someday.
Right.
And I had this feeling. I was like, this can't be for nothing. All of this. And if we learn anything in life, it's like you got to hold on to hope, and you got to go big. And I just talked to my boss afterwards, and I said, "Hey, I'm pulling my episode for tomorrow. Ann called me, and I'm gonna get this conversation out tomorrow." And I said, "I'm going full tilt," because we have all been hoping and praying and just wishing and talking about Mark's return. But I remember, and what triggered this in me was, I'm glad to hear that you're doing better and that you're going to be able to go on this trip to Spain, which sounds amazing. Yeah. And, anyone who's listening can read a little bit about that in Zach's article that's going to come out. The prisoner swap happened I think it was September before. It was either September or October before February when Mark was released. There were 4 prisoners that were released.
No, it was in August.
August. Okay, yes, August. Yes. It was August. That's right, because I had just had a car accident. My car was totaled. I was hit full speed, and luckily, I was okay. I'm alive. I remember being in so much pain because my back was out and I couldn't work. I was at home, and I heard it on the news. And I remember pushing myself up and looking at the TV. And when they showed the pictures of the people, and when Mark's photo wasn't there, I just started sobbing.
It was brutal.
I just started sobbing.
Brutal. You and me both.
You talked to Zach about, listen, it's going to be a journey for sure. And I can't even imagine what that's like. But what in the times when you felt that, what did you do? Like, how did you, yeah.
Oh my God. That was a very, very dark day.
Yeah.
And I had been, we had kind of gotten wind of it prior. And so we were like thinking, oh my God, he's coming home. And I started, we had a whole variety of phone numbers in Russia of ways to kind of skirt the officials to get in touch with him. And when I realized that he was not, Paul Whelan had been, he had been missing for about a week. And then we had heard that Gershkovitz had been moved. And when I called Mark in Rybinsk and he was still there, it was just such a blow. And it was so hard to tell him that, yeah, there were Americans coming home, Russians going to the U.S., murderers getting released.
Yeah.
It was a very, very tough day.
I can imagine. Yeah.
2 weeks, whatever, it was just, there were, that 3.5 years was just, there were times that you just didn't think it could get any worse. We could go any lower. And, it was such a trial.
Yeah.
It was really a trial.
So what would you say, since Mark has been back, what happy moments have you had with him?
Oh my God. It's just, it's the driving in the car banter.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just like it's all of the normal, it's the normal stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's, when I was in Pittsburgh, I wanted to, see Sasha, and, I had gone downtown, and I told Mark that I was going, but not expecting him to come. He was doing other things, and, he was still pretty skittish. But he ended up showing up in, this hotel in downtown Pittsburgh, with a flat tire on his bike, and, and pushing his bike along.
Yeah. You're like, just still trucking along. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was that, it was that, it was the normality of it. And just the normal, it's the relaxation and conversation. And it's the fact that, he's calling me now and, complaining about the snow, or, it's that.
Yeah.
And, he's been very attentive to my mother. They went to see the hearing aid doctor this past week. So, they call from the car, and, we're talking about, driving and hearing aids, and, yes. And it's awesome.
I love that. I think that a lot of people talk about when someone's going through or has gone through an extreme experience, such as you and your entire family have, and Mark has. And, with Mark's journey, it's like he's the only one that had that journey that can speak to it. And you talked about like 800 pounds was lifted off of you. You felt like this weight just lifted off of you. But does it also feel like somebody also removed like a huge barrier, and you just felt, like you said, you felt free? And
I mean, I when Mark was arrested, my partner and I were about to go to Croatia. The tickets were purchased, like everything was set up. And like that came to a screeching halt. And really, so much came to a screeching halt. All my extra money was spent on flying to DC or paying for, the website and and like all of my free time. And if I had free time that I wasn't spending on that, I felt guilty that I wasn't doing more.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been, an absolute release.
It's almost sounds as if it's like a type of like survivor's guilt in a way.
Yeah.
And
I suppose it is.
Not to make that sound like a negative, but I could understand.
Yeah, I mean, my mother. I have a great relationship with my brother. I love my brother, but like it was my brother in this very dangerous situation, and then it was also watching my mother knowing that he was in this dangerous situation. And, and I really felt the absence of my father. And he's,
wow.
it's been 12 years since he's been gone now. But it was really a very acute loss of my father. At that point, and his steadiness, and I just kept thinking that I needed to be channeling him.
Wow, yeah.
To like see us through.
Yes, that's so powerful. I
really felt like I was regularly calling on my ancestors.
Oh yeah, I totally, yes, yes.
My grandfather was a prisoner of war.
Oh, wow.
During World War I.
Oh my gosh.
And I frequently think of what that must have been like. Extraordinary, were extraordinary times.
Well, truly, truly extraordinary times, and I think that for a lot of us, these are things we're reading in history books. And
yeah,
is this?
Oh, and absolutely, the what's happening still in Russia and Ukraine is cataclysmic. I think about that. I think about Putin a lot, and just the international, the suffering, the international crisis he is fomented, and all of the suffering.
I don't know if you've ever done this, but thinking about different decades, and if I were alive, I would have loved to live through, whether it's the 50s, and a lot of times we say that because of the poodle skirts and the, the music.
Yeah.
It's never because of these things, but I do think often of like the 60s. I think of, what if I had lived through that? Had been a teenager or a young individual, like where would I have stood on that side of history? I mean, I probably absolutely would have been a hippie marching in DC and, and I say that in a space where we really do we do everything we can to see both sides. But when you're talking about war, I think of, war, you hear the song just hits you in the head, and it's like, what is it good for? And it's like, I will never understand. And I want to understand, but I have the utmost respect for people who do fight for our country. My uncle had a Purple Heart. I never had the privilege of meeting him. It was my grandmother's only brother, and she had 5 sisters. Like, it was like all girls and then a boy.
Wow.
And both of my nephews were Marines, and they were deployed. One of my nephews, they were Marines. They worked at Quantico, and I just see.
Yeah, I have a lot of relatives that were in Vietnam.
Wow. It's just to think about, and the drive to put yourself in a situation like that, to fight for other people's freedom, and how.
Sure.
And sometimes I look at where we are now, and I'm like, how did we get here? And, with this situation, with Marc's story, I felt like I knew Marc just based off of...
When they took him out of Rebinsk, they didn't tell him what was happening. And he was in solitary confinement for a week. He didn't sleep for like 7 days in a 50-degree cell. And he was terrified that they were taking him to Moldova, where the other American prisoners were. He was he was shattered.
Yes.
And they were enlisting prisoners to fight the Ukrainians. It was not a very big intellectual leap to think that, he could have been sent out to fight the Ukrainians.
Oh my goodness.
Terrifying. It was just terrifying.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing about this. It's not linear, there's so many levels and layers to this. From here, we're hearing Marc's story and who he is as a person. And I felt like, especially through the documentary that Max and his amazing team put together, that I felt like I knew Marc. I felt like I had met who Marc was in that story. And the fact that he was a teacher.
Yeah, it was very true to form, especially through his students' eyes.
Yes, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Like the beautiful map that the one student drew for him and put in color, and on the other side, because I remember your mother brought it here to the Butler Eagle, and we made copies for her. And I went up to her house, and I don't remember which time I was going up there. There was a few people there, but I went up to the house, and I think it was whenever she was doing a press conference off of when she had the lawsuit against the lawsuit. Yes. And we went up to her house, and Sasha was there, and some other family members were there, and I took a stack of them. I said, we printed these for you so we laminated the one that she had so it wouldn't get ruined, but we made copies, and we said, this is for anybody that wants to share it. But I just thought, wow, what an impression you've made on a young person for them to sit down and take the time to speak to who you are and how important you are in this world to try and save your life. Like, that's one person. Right. And there were, I mean, you all went to DC and you marched. And so, I mean, what was that like? I mean, what?
It was, we all needed to feel like we were doing something and that we were being heard. I had been to the White House prior to that. And Jake Sullivan, who was the NSA at the time, said, so-and-so's parents are outside. They were there for their son who was in Iran as a prisoner. And that had gotten their attention. And I just felt like we needed to be a thorn in the side of the administration. We needed to be constantly prodding, poking. We're still here. We're still here. We're still here. And we're waiting on you. Eventually, of course, he was designated wrongfully detained under the Biden administration, and President Biden did call my sister-in-law. The fact that they left him during that big prisoner swap was just brutal. Honestly, I was never a big supporter of Donald Trump, and I had to hand it to them. They got it done. And I'm sure it's because of his, he just had a completely different relationship with Putin.
So remarkable, the resilience. And I could see it in your mother every single time we saw her, we talked to her. She was bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. And Zach and I were both at the house a year ago tomorrow, or today, a year ago today,
Well,
this
it's
is
confusing because of the Russian time. Yeah, it is. Is it today or tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, but I'm saying today as in when this will be out. But yes, I know what you mean. The 11th.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. In real time, we are talking and you didn't know yet. Do you remember what? Because here's what I remember, because they were blowing up my phone. I wasn't in the office. I actually had a friend who had passed away, and I was walking into her memorial service. As I'm walking in, though, to this funeral, they're blowing up my phone, and they're like, we can't get a hold of Sasha. And I said, what's going on? And they said it, and I go, what? You're not serious. I was like, this is happening right now. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, I'm going to send you her number. I will text her right now. As soon as I get out of this, I'm going to, give my respects. And then so I would beeline to the front of the line to give my respects. And then I keep running these people from high school, and I was like, I have to go. Marc Fogel was released. I'm losing my mind, but also feeling.
Right. And there was a period of time that, we knew that Steve Witkoff's plane was in Moscow.
Oh,
and
wow.
we needed to, we had to stay quiet.
Yep.
And we couldn't, they weren't going to make any phone call. We weren't going to get any confirmation until they were out of Russian airspace.
That's correct. That's right. That's what they told us. Okay.
Yeah. So it was like pins and needles and just it was such crazy. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think sometimes I have moments with, my brothers where I'm like, oh, wow, you used to do that when you were a kid. Is there anything about Marc that even just you telling the story of him rolling up on his bike with a flat tire and all these things, it's those kind of things that make you smile. But what other things can you share about him that are just so endearing about him, or something even maybe from when he was a kid that's just makes him even more endearing than he already is? Yeah.
The same through and through. He well, they've bought a little place on the Connie Creek.
Ah, yes.
In Slippery Rock. And he, it's everything from finding snapping turtles to his son, who is pretty mechanically inclined, got this little boat running for him. And, it's like the joy of him,
yeah.
running this little boat around to, it's just all, it's all good.
He's catching tadpoles, just chilling.
Yeah.
Just, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. He sounds like a character. He sounds like such a good soul and just someone you want to be around.
He is. Yes, he is. He really is. And you have not met him yet?
I have not met Marc. I haven't spoken to Marc.
Okay.
No.
We need to make that happen.
With everything that you all had gone through, and we're going to continue to go through, to give you that space to do that. And to me, I enjoy real conversations, and it's not the first time you and I have spoken. So it does help that we have spoken before, and and we've met. And again, I truly felt like I know Marc already. I feel like I'm going to meet him and be like, yep, that's on track. That's on point. And it's just, but it is surreal. And this is someone who I don't know him. But I feel like I do. And it just was so amazing to see the amount of people that were showing up. And I think a part of this too, and I talked to Sasha about this, and we are going to have this conversation, is really educating people on the situation and what happened, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and there are a lot of people that I'll never understand not taking a moment to just step aside and put yourself in someone else's shoes, and at the end of the day look at them as just like a human, and a good person, and put your judgment aside. And your mother, I know, is a very holy woman. She talked about how prayer was what got her through as well. And it's like, we all know that there's only one person at the end of this life and whatever's after this that can judge us, and that's God. And I think in a lot of situations like this, for me, it is not my place to judge you. It's not my place to put judgment on you or make you feel terrible. I would much rather listen to someone's story and let them heal from what they've gone through, because none of us are immune to going through errors and hard times and being human and messing up and failing, and even being like maybe being the bad guy or being the bad woman or whatever it is, but recognizing like at the end of the day, like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to take ownership over this. But when you look at Marc, it's almost as if you're like, wow, of all people, and I'm just so happy that he's home. We are all so incredibly happy that he's home. You know, when you came here to our office, I mean, we had his name, his photo, all the details on this board, and it did not leave that board. It was there. And I mean, from the day I started. And I think it's also being from Butler. And I left Butler and I went out and have lived all over the country, and I've come back. And there's things that I'm appreciating now that I didn't before, and I'm seeing things in a different light. When I heard the story, I thought, this is someone who, he went to Butler. Like, they grew up here. They're like right up the hill. Like, this happened to someone in our community. This happened to one of our community members. And we need to do everything that we can to be a part of like helping get him back.
It was a community effort.
Oh, wow. And the artwork, all of the art that I know Sasha really spearheaded all of that. And that to me was a really interesting piece, because art can be healing. So I guess you've talked about it, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that, you should keep close to your vest. Is there anything like from the holidays that had to just be all of you together? And
we, one of the highlights of the Christmas was when we all sang together, and just, you know, bad pop songs, and, you know, it was just hilarious. And
I love that you said just, pop songs.
You know, There weren't Christmas carols. They were just, you know, just like songs that like everybody,
like Wham, like Wham. Were you singing Last Christmas?
We
You're like, no.
Fountains of Wayne is a band that all the kids really like, and it was part of their childhood. So it was hilarious.
And I know he obviously, you know, as Zach said, baseball season, and, you know, we saw he got to throw the first pitch at one of the games.
Right.
And I know that was kind of a last real public appearance. And, but even just that, I mean, I'm sure that moment for him was surreal, excuse me. I don't know.
Surreal, but he said it was also like a childhood dream.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. Good things are ahead. I was talking to someone the other day about grief and how it's interesting, you know, there's the steps of grief, and there's a huge part of that. And it's not, I don't think it happens in, you know, there's like 5 different steps of grief. I don't ever think that they happen in the true form. And sometimes you can pop back into one or the other, but it's kind of getting back to that, you know, this too shall pass, and knowing like how far you've all come to get through this. So I really am praying for all of you and your continued journey of healing and spending time together and making more memories, and mouthing, got to see Marc, they're together again, and you're all together again. And your father absolutely was there with you. My dad's my guardian angel. So I wholeheartedly believe in that, and that it's really powerful to ask for that help from our ancestors. 'Cause I do think that can be really therapeutic, but it also can be empowering. And for us, from what I saw, you all were very empowered. I could see you could see the sadness behind the eyes, but you could see the determination was leading the charge.
We were not going to give up.
This was a call, and I appreciate you for calling me back and taking time to talk to us. And
just my undying gratitude to the people of Western Pennsylvania.
Well, we are always here for you. And like I said, everybody here was following and communicating and hoping and praying and all of the things. And I don't know. I mean, I still have it's funny. I was trying to record earlier, and right behind me is the poster from Max is from the documentary, and it's Did You Forget Mr. Fogel? And it's still on my bulletin board behind me. I haven't taken it down. Even when he was released, I was like, I'm not taking this down. It's almost like a good reminder to see it. Yeah. And to remember like all the people that it took, and that it truly does take an army sometimes. I don't know if that's the proper thing that I want to say is army or village, whatever it is. But I really appreciate you, and I'm so glad that I know you and that I know your family. And I, do look forward to meeting Mark and just letting him know that we appreciate being able to fight for him.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. And I, look forward to seeing you again. I'll be honest, I'd love to come out to you're in Montana, right?
Yes. Yeah. When you're heading this way, you just let me know.
I'll let you know. It's funny. I've been thinking a lot lately, and you said you're going on this trip to Spain. You're going to be like riding horses and stuff. Horses are so therapeutic.
They are.
Right?
They are indeed. Yes. Yes.
That's going to be, I'm excited for that. And we should connect after that trip. I'd love to hear about it. Cause that sounds like I got to add that to my bucket list. So
yeah,
I don't know if I'll go to Spain. I'd love to go to Spain. I need to get back on my Duolingo and, a little bit more than hello and goodbye. But
me too.
Right. I think back to high school. I'm like, man, I really wish I had paid attention. But every Friday, our Spanish teacher used to play Gloria Estefan concerts for us on a TV and just let us sit there and watch it. So, or Selena.
Fun.
So
right, there you go.
Yeah, we got a little culture, but I didn't really take a lot of the Spanish with me. So
right.
It's never too late. It's never too late. Yeah, I just really appreciate you and very grateful. So thank you again.
Thank you. Next time I'm in Butler, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, give me a call. We'll go hiking, or we'll
go to the brick house.
Let's go to the brick house. I'll go to the brick house. I'll go wherever you want to go. So amazing. But yes, go enjoy your dinner and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Take good care.
Yes, I will. Absolutely. And have so much fun on your trip. That's amazing.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Ann. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oftentimes we have the perfect idea of how things should go, need to go, must go. This conversation really came from a phone call. Ann called, we caught up, and somewhere in that conversation we realized, let's record this. When Ann first called me and I was standing in my kitchen and I answered, she said, Laura, did your podcast drop yet? I knew in that moment that we needed to make something happen, and we did. There is so much more that we can unpack, and maybe we will. But for now, I'm grateful for the honesty, for the reflection, and for the reminder that freedom and hope are things we keep choosing and fighting for every single day. Thank you for tuning in to Alter Eagle. Join me every Wednesday for a new episode, and be sure to click subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alter Eagle Podcast. Thank you to my friends Kristen and Vicky for understanding, pushing part 2 next week. Don't miss it. And if you tuned in today, and if you followed Mark's story, and if you followed his journey home, thank you. Until next time, stay safe, stay hopeful, stay kind.